All right. Last one. Credit card info. Done. All of the Clone Wars and Mandalorian figures finally on pre-order. I am out of money. Thank you, Hot Toys. Please, no more announcements. We can chill now. Let me just make sure there's no new ones. No. Reissuing Boba Fett. All right, cool. I don't need it. I already have the Empire Strikes Back one. Oh, they're giving it to us in the 40th anniversary packaging? No, I don't need it. It's just a box. It's really nice design. It looks so good. Hey, Sally, can I borrow your purse for a second? What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. This is Six Economist. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Hot Toys Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett. As always, first we're going to talk about this figure from a collection perspective, and then we're going to talk about it from an investment perspective. Obviously, this was just recently announced. This is the 40th anniversary version of Boba Fett. Same figure, new box. Talking about from a collection perspective, look, I've talked about this figure before. I've actually done a review on this figure, so if you guys have not seen that, I'm going to link it right here. So go check out that review if you haven't. But like from a collector perspective, like this figure is fantastic. Everything about this figure is perfect. I think that he is definitely the definitive Boba Fett, you know, compared to this one, vintage Boba Fett, animated Boba Fett, Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. This is the one Boba Fett to have in your collection if you just want one. The only minor gripe I have about this figure, and which I talk about in my review, is he is a little bit of a bucket head. The helmet is just a little bit too wide, and it's kind of annoying. That's basically the only problem with this figure. The details on it is amazing. The weathering is fantastic. The accessories that he comes with is a plethora of accessories, whether that be the accessory set that he comes with or just the things on him, like the Wookiee braids, all the little backpacks with all the little buttons on it, like just like the knees and the details, even on the foot, he has like those little prong things. No detail expensed on this figure. It's just absolutely perfect. It's the bucket head, and then it's the fact that the jetpack is not magnetic are the two major problems with this figure. The backpack really, honestly, the backpack can't be understated how bad it is. It's not magnetic. It's like plastic on these like two little hooks that is so easy to break and always falls off and just like flops around. It was a poor choice by them, but that's like basically the problems. That's like the only problems with this figure. If you need a Boba Fett in your collection and you don't have one, this is just such a great opportunity. Again, this is like the third time now that they are reissuing this figure. Just the Empire Strikes Back version, this is the third time. So it's insane the supply that this one can have. But if you don't have Boba Fett in your collection, you want just one Boba Fett. From a collection perspective, I picked the Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett. But let's jump into it from an investment perspective, because that's the one I'm getting a lot of questions on. This one. This one's pretty interesting. First, let's talk about it from an investment perspective. Look, Boba Fett, it's the same thing. It keeps happening over and over again, right? He gets issued $267 retail for the deluxe version, sits for like 9 months, goes out of stock, is reselling for like $450 in the secondary market, $400 to $450. They reissue him. They resupply him, and he's available again for pre-order for like 6 months. His price recorrects to like $300 in the secondary market. Sits again, people are not pre-ordering him, and then finally it goes waitlist again, and his secondary price goes back to like people are paying like $450 in the secondary market to pick up this figure. Like just as recently as like 3 weeks ago, selling on bid for $450, and then they reissue him again. And honestly, I just think it's going to be the same thing that's going to happen again. Like, yeah, this figure has been insanely oversupplied, but it's Boba Fett, and he comes with amazing accessories. And now he's coming in this, like, vintage box set. Like, it's still, like, a great investment to pick up. Like, just the same thing keeps happening. Like, people keep making the same mistake. Like, the people that are... If any of you are passing on this figure again, and you don't have a Boba Fett in your collection, but you want one... pick up this figure. It's gonna do it again. I'm sure it's gonna be $400 again once it sells out, because no matter how much supply there is, there's always gonna be more demand for Boba Fett. And with the Mandalorian Season 2 coming out, it's only gonna amplify that even further. So look, from an investment perspective, you're safe, you're fine. And from a relative value investment perspective versus other figures in the market, I actually think that this one has more potential to do better than some of the other characters that we're getting, like Lando, or some of these other figures. When you're comparing it relative value versus Clone Wars figures, I think this one should hold its own. With that being said, if you have a stretched budget, if you are already allocating so much money to the Mandalorian wave and the Clone Wars phase, and you've passed on this figure before and you still are not like rushing to go get it, I think it's probably like an easy pass for you. Like, you have so many great figures coming out that are going to do so well from an investment perspective. This one is going to hold its own. It's going to do fine too. But from an investor perspective, like, if you have a budget that's relatively strained right now and you have with all these figures coming out, like, maybe you do pass on this figure again. And if you already have a Boba Fett, unless you're a psychopath like me, you probably just pass on this figure. Look, I'm probably going to be picking up this figure even though I already have the Empire Strikes Back version, and it's really for two reasons. One, I really was like very much blown away by how much I loved the packaging for the vintage Boba Fett, which is obviously the first 40th anniversary figure we've gotten. I thought it was just going to be, you know, like a crappy box and whatever. It's just kind of like a money grab. But the box is like nice, thick cardboard. It's magnetic down here. I like the way it looks in the box. And, you know, coming from Vintage Collection, I'm a fan of leaving figures in box. So for now, I've left this figure in the box. And if we're going to get like a bunch of figures in 40th anniversary packaging, like, you could have a pretty nice display with them. I like it. So don't follow, you know, do as I say, not as I do. If you already have Boba Fett and you have a strained budget, I think that you just pass on this figure. From an investor perspective, like, because I think this figure is going to do just fine, and being, you know, different enough that it's in, you know, a different box, like, I imagine this figure, once it sells out, it's like, you know, immediately goes to $400 in the secondary market, $375, $400, and kind of just sits there. I'm okay picking one up and just holding it, and then deciding maybe one day if I don't want it anymore and I don't need two Boba Fetts, I'll pick which one I want to sell and just sell one of them. So, to conclude, from a collection perspective, great in my book. It's Boba Fett. We already know it. From an investment perspective, this one's an easy one just because of the historical analysis we've seen. And sure, you can make the argument, well, no, 6K Economist, this figure is way too oversupplied. Like, we've gotten this version 3 times now. We have all these other Boba Fetts. Like, this is going to be the nail in the coffin. This is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Like, there's just too much supply now of this figure. Nope, disagree. It's demand. The reason why this figure always goes so high in the secondary market that sells out is because this is one of the first characters that people want to add to their collection when they're starting their Star Wars Hot Toys collection. It's Boba Fett. It's just too iconic. People love Boba Fett. People love the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is supporting this figure. It's crazy it might seem with how much supply. I just think it's just going to do it again, and it's just going to do very well in the secondary market. So for that reason, I'm not concerned about picking it up, and I don't mind allocating my funds there, move some money around. And I'm happy to add this one into my collection. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section down below. Are you guys picking up this figure? Do the people that already have Boba Fett, are you definitely passing on this figure, or are you considering it? Do you guys agree with my logic? Do you think my logic is stupid and I'm a fiend? Let me know in the comment section down below. This is 6K Economist. As always, buy the dip, sell the rip. This is the way. We will see you in the next video.